Hey there, welcome back to Retro Tech Toys. I wanted to continue with the retro restoration project that I've been doing. I've got a couple of videos up already, like the color computer and a few others that I've really enjoyed making. And I've been kind of bummed because I haven't found any good projects where I could do a retro restoration until today. I found this awesome iMac that I've got over here. It's a 2006 iMac. And those are, I believe they have a dual core processor. It runs at like 2.16 gigahertz. They max out at 3 gigs of RAM, but you can typically put in 4 if you have two 2 gigabyte chips. It also has a 128 megabyte GeForce card, and that's the thing that worries me about this is the GeForce cards that they put in these late 2006 24-inch iMacs. They often have issues where you've got like screen artifacts and stuff like that. Now, the good news is that those are replaceable because the bigger iMacs like this, they don't solder them in. The smaller ones, they do. So, if we have any problems like that, I'll go ahead and I'll check and see if I can order a replacement, but we're not even going to worry about that right now. Right now, I just want to clean it up and see if it works, and I'm really excited to get started with another retro restorations project, so let's get started. Welcome back to Retro Tech Toys. I have this 2006 iMac that I found at a secondhand store today. I got it for 20 bucks. I don't even know if it works. It came with a power cable, which it's not that big of a deal. It's just your standard computer power cable. But look at this thing. It looks like somebody dug it out of a barn that had been sitting in maybe since it was discontinued in 2007. Anyway, these things are pretty cool. I did a video. It was one of my first videos I ever did on YouTube about if these things are still viable in 2019. And it's almost 2020, so I'm about to do another one. And look at this thing. It's filthy. It is disgusting. I have never seen one this gross. So we're going to get some stuff and we're going to see if we can clean it up, do a nice retro restoration on it. I don't know if it works, but we'll find out. That's going to be a lot of nasty stuff to clean up. I don't know if we can. I don't even know if those are scratches on the screen, or if that's just a bunch of filth. So let's get this thing in order. Let's see if we can get it cleaned up. Let's see if it even powers on. I just kind of went for it. I figured at 20 bucks, it's something that we can check out. And hey, there's Link. He's hanging out with me today. And Princess Leia wants to be part of this video as well. So here she is. Yes. Hello, baby. Yeah, you go on back over there. She actually has her own YouTube channel, Princess Leia, the Blue Crown Conure. But anyway, back to the Mac. Let's check this thing out. I want to get it cleaned up. I'm going to get the birds out of here so I can get my cleaning supplies. And here they are. I've got some Goo Gone. I've got a rag that I wash every time I do a project. And just got some TP. And we're also going to use some very strong isopropyl alcohol. I think that'll work really well with the Goo Gone. I have that in a spray bottle. So let's grab that and let's get to work. I want to get this base first because it's pretty nasty and that'll be pretty telling. Like if we can get this cleaned up, then I have hopes for the rest of the computer because I don't know if that's rust or what that is. But anyway, I sprayed some alcohol in there and it seemed to wipe off okay, but there's still a lot of gross dirt. Ew, look at that. It's pretty nasty. We're going to go ahead and just use a little elbow grease on this thing and get my hands nice and dirty and get this rag nice and dirty. Let's get some more alcohol on there. And I believe this is 90% alcohol? I don't recall, but it's really strong. It works so much better than the other stuff that you usually get at the store. And it's a little more money, but it's worth it. Oh yeah, look at that. Not a bit of that was rust. It just cleaned right up. I just love it when you can get something nice and clean just with a rag and just spray it on there and give it a good wipe. Oh, it's so nice. It's giving me a little hope for the rest of the computer. I don't even know why I've started to clean this before I tested it out. I just looked at it and was like, man, I have got to wipe this thing down. I know my wife and I are both allergic to dust, so let's get this thing fixed up. All right, let's tackle the back of it. The front of the base did really well. And let's just spray some alcohol on there. We'll let that sit on the acrylic while we scrub at this metal base. And oh, already I can tell that very little of this wants to come off. But some of it is coming off of the acrylic. I decided to give that a good wipe just to see if we can get anything off back here. And this is the back of the Mac, so I'm not that worried about it. But I really do want to get the metal clean at least. So let's put some Goo Gone on the rag. I got this at the dollar store as well. Like, I paid $1 for it, and I love this stuff. But yeah, the Goo Gone, it seems to work a little bit, but we're still not having very much progress. So what I'm going to do, I don't have any sandpaper, but I do have this. These are just like a little adhesive pads, but the other side of it's kind of rough. So I'm just going to use this like it's sandpaper. I wouldn't want to use sandpaper on this anyway because I wouldn't want to mess it up. And that actually worked really well. Just needed something on there like some steel wool or something like that. But I wanted to use something a little softer, and I was right. That cleaned it right up. Look at that. That looks beautiful now. I can't believe how easy that was. Sometimes you need something a little bit stronger than a rag, but I really don't recommend using anything terribly abrasive. Not on something like this. I mean, Apple built these things to be beautiful. Apple didn't build these things to withstand a whole lot of abuse. And yeah, and with that being aluminum, that base, I mean, it'd be so easy to scratch up. I mean, underneath it looks really, really good. I wonder what the story is on this thing. Like, did the people just use it for a while and put it outside? I mean, I don't even know. You know, was it sitting on their porch? I mean, it's just got so much grime on it. So we're going to go ahead and spray this down some more. And I'm really hoping to get as much of this off of the back as possible. But if I can't, then I can't. We're going to use this little pad along with the rag just to see what we can do, if anything. Anyway, I had to go off of camera and just finish cleaning this. Here's the result. Yeah, I used most of my Goo Gone, most of my alcohol, but look how white and clean and nice I got this thing. It's not perfect, but it looks really good. And look at that screen. There are no scratches on the screen as far as I can tell. There might be one small one, but it'd be really hard to see. The sides got really nice and clean. The back is mostly clean, but there's still a couple of brown spots. I got it pretty lightened up though, and I might work on this a little more later. But I'm very shocked at the results that we got just from applying a little bit of elbow grease. I couldn't be happier. And there it is. It is all cleaned up, ready to go. There's the front of it, just looking really nice. Just the results are just very surprising to me, because when I picked this thing out, I almost didn't want to pay $20 for it. All right, well, I've got a stick of RAM here because I realized that this thing only has 2 gigabytes in it. You can fit 4, but I only have one 2 gigabyte DDR2 chip, so I'm going to take out one of the 1 gigabytes and I'm going to put this 2 gigabyte in, and we'll have 3. And later on I'll pick up another 2 gigabyte chip, and you're not supposed to be able to upgrade these to 4 gigabytes, but it will accept 2 gigabyte chips, and it will use the full 4 gigabytes. Let's get that in there, and now let's turn this thing on and see if it even works. It works. Look at that. It works great. Everything's coming on. Now the real test is to see if it'll boot up. And I've got this old keyboard and mouse attached to it just to test it out. And will it even boot up? Well, here we go. We've got something here. And there you are. It's got Mac OS on it, and looks like it is password locked. And we've got a few people with accounts, and let's click on one and see if there's a password. Yes, there is, and it looks like the password clue has something to do with a wrapper. I have no idea which wrapper that would be. But anyway, as you can see, there's a little bit of artifact there, but that's just the GeForce card. These did that all the time. All right, we've got the iMac nice and cleaned up. We know that it works. It is password protected. Now, with some iMacs, you can actually go into the setup, to the recovery, and there's a utility command that you can run in the terminal called password reset. That'll let you reset an admin account. Please don't use that for evil, by the way. But yeah, if you go into, if you hold down Command R when you boot an iMac or any kind of Macintosh that I think is OS X Lion or newer, when you get into the recovery, you can go into the terminal and type in password reset. And then it takes you to a password reset utility where you can reset every password on the iMac. This one, unfortunately, has, I believe, Snow Leopard on it, so we're not going to be able to do that. There's no built-in recovery partition. So what we're going to have to do is I've got to go make a USB or a DVD installer of Lion, because I think we'll go ahead and upgrade it to Lion. And once I do that, we'll be back and we'll go through that process together. We'll see how well it works, and we'll see how this thing holds up at the end of 2019, heading into 2020. All right, we've got the 24-inch iMac's little brother here, which is a 17-inch 2006 iMac CD. This is actually the same iMac that I used on one of my first YouTube videos, where I talked about if they were still viable in 2019. I'm going to do that with its big brother very soon. What we're going to use it for right now is that it already has OS X Lion installed on it. So what I'd like to do is make a bootable USB of OS X Lion 10.75. So what we're going to do is I've got a DMG file of it that I'm going to copy to the desktop. And after I get it copied to the desktop, I'm going to go into the disk utility. We're going to do something called restore. And what that does is it allows you to choose an image to restore to a disk. We're going to use the USB stick as the destination disk, and we're going to use OS X Lion as the restore image. So basically, it'll just write a bootable USB stick. And I've got this way sped up because no one has 15 minutes to go through this. Ain't nobody got time for that. We'll go ahead and let this do its thing, and I've got it way sped up to about 600 or 800%. I'm really excited to see if this is going to work. After this is done copying, what we're going to do is boot it up on this Mac to make sure that it works, and then we'll take it out and put it in its larger counterpart, and we'll test it that way. I'm showing the EFI boot, which is the USB stick. So let's make sure that OS X Lion actually loads. And if it loads, then we're ready to go. And we can put it inside of the larger Mac and go ahead and wipe and install. And there we go. It boots up. That's awesome. Okay, now we're on the 24-inch iMac, and we're going to go ahead and erase this disk. As much as I'd kind of like to go through it and see what the last people had on it, we're going to go ahead and just erase it. So let's get that done. And again, I have this sped way up. I'm really hoping this install goes smoothly. I'm sure it will. It looks like so far we're not having any issues. They're hard to see in the video, but I have noticed a couple of screen artifacts. And again, that's not the screen itself of the iMac. That is actually the GeForce card that's inside the Mac. The ones they put in these 2006 iMacs were just notorious for acting up. Some people only had their iMacs for a year or two, and these GeForce cards would just start acting crazy. So I think that's what happened. But anyway, we're good to go, and I will be back as soon as everything is set up and ready to go. All right, she's all restored, cleaned up. We've got Lion installed and updated. I'm pretty excited. Got a matching keyboard. I've got a Microsoft mouse attached to it, which is all sorts of blasphemy, but that's okay. But look at that puppy go. Isn't it beautiful? So I'm really excited that we've got this thing working, and $20 for a 24-inch 2006 iMac with 3 gigabytes of RAM, a dual-core CPU, and all that good stuff. You can't beat that. But anyway, this was a lot of fun, and we got it ready to go, and I'm excited to get some games on it and show everybody what it can do in a future video, and I'm going to do that coming up really soon. I've got to source a new video card for it though, because it has some artifacts going on, and I think you just saw one there, and I'm actually going to show you guys a little bit of what's going on with it. Anyway, I'm gonna zoom you in here a little bit so you can kind of see what's up. And you see the dark screen there. There's supposed to be wallpaper there, and you see kind of the artifacts that we've got there by the dock. That shouldn't do that. Let's zoom in a little more so you can see it. See all that? But you know, it loads things okay, and as you can see there, the specs, it recognizes the 3 gigs of RAM that we've got in it, the 2.16 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo. I played some YouTube on it, and that does load, and it actually plays at 1080p. I was pretty shocked because this is such an old Mac. But we'll do some stuff later with it. I'm gonna, like I mentioned before, we'll source that video card, and we'll source an SSD, and we'll go from there. So that's the 2006 iMac 24-inch. We did a nice restoration on it. It looked like, as I said before, someone had buried it behind a barn somewhere in mud and let it sit there for 10 years. So I'm actually surprised that it worked as well as it did. And, you know, it works great. It cleaned up really nice. There are a couple of brown spots left on it, and we'll get that cleaned up in the future. Like I mentioned before, I got this thing playing YouTube videos, but with the artifacts that possibly come from the video card being corrupt and needing to be replaced, and possibly hard drive issues because it's got a really old hard drive in it. Those things are going to keep us from being able to do much with it right now. So I plan on upgrading the hard drive to an SSD, and I'm going to slap a new video card in it. And I'll do that on video too. We'll do a part 2 where we take care of all of that. And then we'll get some awesome games loaded on it, and we'll see exactly what we can do with it, take it for a real test drive. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching Retro Tech Toys. See you next time.